So, we are all done with episode 2, Reunion and Turnabout. And up. Yep, we did it. And we have another case up next, but before we get to that, it's time to give our final thoughts on Reunion and Turnabout. So, ESM, before you go to sleep, if you want to give your final thoughts real quick on Reunion and Turnabout.
Very long.
Very long. Okay. Is that all you have to say? Apparently so. He's already gonna go back to sleep. So.
Alright, fair enough.
Alright. Did you want to at least give you a rating real quick? He's already going back to sleep. So. Alrighty. Pretty much who wants to go next? Do you want to go next, Bonnie, or do you want to save this for last?
You know what? I'll go now.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, so obviously we had a bit of a long break between the finale and the previous sessions that we did.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, I'm gonna be honest.
Go ahead.
I honestly think it's a little bit unfair to give the rating because we had a completely long time gap between the finale and the other stream.
Yeah, that's fair.
But honestly, overall, I really enjoyed this case. It was much better than I expected. It was a lot of fun, to be completely honest.
Good.
The mystery is awesome, and that plot twist is definitely something. Let me tell you.
I mean, honestly, like, if I'm gonna be like completely honest, like, out of the Ace Attorney cases that I have played up until this point, and everything, like, it's definitely up there with, like, pretty much like the biggest, like, jaw-dropping type of, like, plot twist that are pretty much like the Phoenix Wright series will be known for later on and everything. And honestly, fun fact, like, pretty much I was learning about this, but, like, the pretty much the whole, like, facial reconstruction and everything, like, pretending to be someone else and everything, like, pretty much what I understand, like, it's a very common trope in, like, Asian media and such.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Ah. I didn't know that, actually. You learn something new every day.
Pretty much.
All right, so I'm gonna get the rating out of the way, so you can go ahead and give your final thoughts.
Alrighty. Before you do, real quick. So at least in terms of like, this case, what are your thoughts on the two new characters that will become like, recurring characters later on? Let's start with Pearl. Pretty much like, what are your thoughts on Pearl so far?
Okay, Pearl's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I always imagine her as Maya Light. In terms of being a sidekick to Phoenix, and honestly, she's very likable. I've never found her annoying or anything like that.
No, I mean, like, yeah, pretty much like, at least to me, like, I think what makes Pearl work is that, like, they find the right balance of, like, making her naive and innocent, but never come off as, like, pretty much either too much or, like, to a point to where, like, because usually sometimes, like, when shows sometimes, like, bring in a little kid character, or at least, like, a younger version of, like, the main character as a sidekick, sometimes it works, and there are other times where, like, pretty much, like, you can tell that, like, they're only just there to, like, be the sidekick and everything, and that's really about it and everything. There's nothing really, like, that much to make them stand out. And honestly, with Pearl, like, I think they found, like, the right, like, balance to basically, like, give her a try, like, innocence and everything, but never make her, like, annoying and such. Like, I pretty much find the right balance, like I said, I find the right balance of bringing her innocent to where, like, you just can't help but find her adorable.
I know, right? And I never found her annoying, I never found her annoying. She's pretty good, She's not a literal Maya 2.0. She's her own self.
Yeah, pretty much. And I pretty much, like, yeah, as the series go on and everything, sometimes you also can't help but to feel sorry for this poor child and such.
I know, right? Especially considering what the fuck was her mom thinking, what she did.
Pretty much. And, yeah, like I said, that little, like, ending over there, that actually will get brought up, not in this game, but, like, in the very next game, like, that actually will become a plot point pretty soon. So definitely keep that in mind.
Okay, now let's go into the elephant in the room.
Alright, Franziska von Karma, yeah. So pretty much in terms of, like, her first appearance in this case, what do you think of her so far? Because I know, like I said, she is pretty divisive among the Ace Attorney fans.
All right, so I don't know when I don't know when this is gonna get posted, but I have a feeling it's gonna be posted before 2026, obviously. So, all right, so you know what? I'll give it away.
Go ahead.
What we did this stream, we're not gonna give away any details. We did this video for the review bros a couple months ago. I think a month ago, right?
I believe so. Yes.
We did this video a month ago, and there was a question this guy asked me in that video. And honestly, I'm just gonna say it out of the way. I just find her incredibly annoying at times. I will admit. Okay, let me go back.
Okay.
The whip at first is funny.
Mm-hmm.
The first time she uses it is funny. But unfortunately, as we go along, she's gonna keep using that stupid whip, and it's gonna get old fast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only gimmick she has: the stupid whip, just the stupid whip.
Well, pretty much not only just a whip, but pretty much like her favorite word being like fools and such.
You foolish fool of a foolish fool, foolish fool of a foolish fool. No one gives a shit about this stupid foolish fool. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever, Franziska.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I just find, honestly, I'm just gonna say it out of the way. I just find her annoying. That's all.
Alrighty then. And pretty much, alright, so yeah.
Compared to Miles, Miles was the GOAT. I gotta be honest. Miles was the GOAT. Completely honest. Being completely honest, because he never did a stupid gimmick. Yeah, he did the little thank you, but
yeah.
he didn't repeat the same gimmick in every goddamn case.
Like, honestly, I think the only gimmick you could give to, like, Edgeworth sometimes is just the bowing he does whenever he, like, pretty much, like, feels like he's about to get a win and such, or, like, knows that, like, he's got Phoenix into a corner now and such. And the only other, like, a little gimmick sometimes he has is, like, having a hard time getting the witnesses to say their names, or at least cooperate with him.
Name and occupation, yeah. But at least he didn't do it. He doesn't do what Franziska does, where he basically repeats the same thing over and over again. Or basically the same gimmick like 300 times. Yeah, so honestly, yeah. To close this off, yeah. I don't like Franziska on Karma. There we go.
Alright, that's fair enough. And to be fair, like, yeah, we do have at least, like, 2 more cases left to go in terms of this game. And like I said, she is a recurring character. We are actually going to see her more, like, at least during this marathon and such. So at the very least, we'll see if, like, if pretty much Barney might change her mind on her a little bit. Or pretty much, like, even if, like, her other appearance, like, still might not be enough for him to, like, save Franziska as a character and such. But anyway, so yeah. Pretty much, like, if you were to, like, put this case on the tier list, wherever to go, and you can go ahead and give your rating as well, too.
Okay, this one would go to A.
Alrighty.
Compared to the previous one, much better. Easily.
I agree.
I don't have too much to say, so yeah, it's an A, and if I have to give it a number rating, 8 out of 10.
Alright, not bad at all. Alright, so for me and everything with Reunion and Turnabout, I definitely do agree. Much better than, like, the Lost Turnabout in terms of, like, the mystery and everything, keeping you on the edge of, like, your seat and such. As well as, like, pretty much just, like, really drawing you into the story more and more as it, like, develops and everything. And I do agree with Barney. Like, honestly, like, this is a very, like, great mystery to, like, not only, like, establish Phoenix and everything, but also establish more of, like, Maya as a character, as well as, like, pretty much give more, like, a background as to, like, what her family like, what her family life is usually like and everything. And pretty much what we've seen with, like, Morgan and everything, like, yeah, this will definitely not be the last time where Maya and even Pearls will find themselves in a little bit of, like, a family drama and such. And pretty much, much like how I always, much like what I said with, like, with Pearls, like, pretty much, like, pretty much on how, like, you'll find, like, pretty much you'll end up, like, feeling sorry for Pearls with like the type of mother like she has and everything. That's gonna be the same thing with Maya, where like pretty much as the series goes on, you are definitely gonna feel like deeply sorry for this like right now it's like an adult woman and everything, and when you learn pretty much like just what she really had to go through and everything like during her life and everything, and like honestly like I think that's what helps makes like someone like both Maya and Pearls become like very strong characters as well too. At the end of the day, that honestly is really not that like a surprise or even a wonder as to why like these two characters are still like very popular among the Ace Attorney like series and such. Because like yeah, like with everything that Maya had to go through like within this trial and everything, it definitely has earned like more of like greater respect, like at least to me in terms of like character and such and everything. Now I do see some people like the one criticism that like people do give to this case and everything is pretty much the confusion of like why would Maya like be found guilty if she was not really the one that like murdered Dr. Gray, and like say that like the spirit medium the spirit medium actually did happen and the spirit medium was the one that killed Dr. Gray. Why would Maya need to be like go to jail and such? And honestly, like my pretty much like my argument to that and everything. And I know like there's another person that kind of like feels this way as well too. It's pretty much like that. Like if we're taking like the Ace Attorney route and such and everything, I think what would happen, like at least in terms of like in Maya's case and such, like say that like Maya was just like doing her job, and she never meant to like pretty much like had the spirit like murder Dr. Gray in cold blood, as it were, and everything. Pretty much the Phoenix was able to like do something like that and everything. Even though that like yeah, even though Maya like never attempted to like harm Dr. Gray at the end of the day and everything, she was still the one that did like ended up like calling the spirit. Like let's say that like the spirits are Mimi was dead and everything, and she was able to like call the spirit back and such. She would still get like honestly, at least to me, I at least agree that like at the very least like instead of her being found guilty, I think she would have at least got on with like a manslaughter charge at the very least, because like she never intended it to happen in the first place, but she would still be like found guilty in a sort of way. Because I would imagine that like because honestly I would imagine that like that like it wouldn't be a far-fetched theory that like say like a spirit medium had a more like a vengeful tension and everything, and pretty much would have used a spirit medium, or at least like someone from the dead, to come back and actually kill someone in cold blood and everything. And if someone was to do that and everything, then pretty much like yeah, they would definitely be found guilty, no doubt about it, because like that was their intent from the very beginning. So that's the way at least like I look at it and everything. And pretty much honestly, like some people do disagree and everything. Like I do welcome the comments and everything, because like I said, I do understand the argument from the other side a little bit and everything. So that is one argument that does reshape like my thoughts about this case a little bit, but nothing really all like negative, because like at the end of the day, like even coming back to this case, like everything from like the opening shot of the car and pretty much the music, pretty much that new music and everything when Aeneas explained the backstory of the car crash and everything, it is very beautiful, honestly. And honestly, like I said, the way they handle that twist ending, like I still get goosebumps, just like pretty much yeah, I still get goosebumps, just like just from like reading the ending and pretty much just picturing like the disbelief in the judge's voice when he finally learns like the real reason, or at least like the true motivations behind that murder and such. Like it is just very well put together in my opinion. But yeah, so let's see here, and honestly, like at least for me in terms of like Franziska and everything, I will admit, like at least from here in the opening and everything, I can't see like pretty much I could definitely see on how like her introduction like pretty much isn't really the strongest when compared to like someone like Edgeworth. Like I think the reason like Edgeworth introduction actually worked and everything is that like instead of like having a whip or anything or becoming like too silly and such, like I think this is another reason why like Franziska sometimes like has a hard time like getting like not necessarily like popular, but has like, but sometimes gets labeled as like the weak prosecutor. Is that like there are a couple of moments where pretty much like her gimmick as like with her using the whip all that much and everything, like pretty much just kind of makes her a little bit over the top, for lack of a better word and such. Pretty much like she's the type of prosecutor where you know that like yeah, there's pretty much like yeah, this is like an over exaggeration about like the prosecutors we have seen from the previous game up until this point, especially with like Manfred von Karma and such and everything, and and like I said, don't get me wrong, like there are still a couple moments where like she does get like some very funny like witty remarks, or at least like some very cool lines and everything, which we will definitely see in like this game as like the cases go on, or at least like the last two cases and such. But at least for me and everything, in terms of like her introduction and everything, like I would label Franziska von Karma as okay for now and such. Like I said, she definitely still has her like moments and such where pretty much like she does become like very at least like a memorable character in my opinion and everything. But I could definitely see on how like she's definitely one of those like pretty much an either grower character or pretty much a character to where like people are just gonna find a weak no matter what, and pretty much that's perfectly fine and such, cause I mean like I said, honestly, like in terms of like the other prosecutors that like we will be seeing later on and everything, like I said, like at least in terms of this game and everything, Franziska does leave a lot to be desired. I will admit to that part and such.
Extremely.
Yeah. But yeah, so pretty much at least in terms of me, I still love Reunion and Turnabout for what it is. I think it still has like a very great story, some like memorable characters and such, a very engaging plot line as well too. So pretty much for me, if I was to put like Reunion and Turnabout in like a tier list and such, let's see here. Honestly, I would lean a little bit more towards B and such. I would definitely put it in B tier and everything. And at least in terms of my rating for it, at least in terms for this case and such, you know what? I'm gonna give it. Honestly, I'm gonna give it a 7 and such.
All right.
Yeah. So pretty much like pretty much for me for me, Reunion Turnabout is still a very classic case and everything. I still had lots of fun with it. I still think that, like, at the very least, it's a very great case to, like, not only introduce Maya back, but also introduce more of the Faye family as well, too. Like I said, the story is just still very good and very engaging, and, like, honestly, it's one of those cases where, like, sometimes I like to see other people's reactions and everything, especially when it came to, like, the twist ending and how they handle it as well, too. But, yeah. Alrighty, folks, well, that's gonna do it for Reunion and Turnabout. Now, pretty much just like last time and such, pretty much the parts of Reunion and Turnabout will be uploaded when we get ready to do the first session of a case that's very divided among the Ace Attorney fans. I think it's still divided to this day and everything, and originally, like, pretty much I know this, originally this was seen as, like, the least favorite case of pretty much the Ace Attorney series for a while and everything. Nowadays and everything, I think...
No. It's not. To me, it's not the worst. To me, it's absolutely not the worst.
Mm-hmm. Yes, pretty much I do know what Barney's worst case is, and pretty much we're not going to get to that. We're not going to get to that until after we finish up the Ace Attorney marathon first. But pretty much I will say this. I do know that recently, and I think the anime basically helped out with this. I do know that recently there are some people that actually don't mind Turnabout Big Top all that much and such. And I'm very curious to see.
I think the reason people hated it, this was pre-anime. This is my opinion. This is just something. This is a theory. I think the reason why people didn't like the case before the anime is because the case in the game doesn't do a good job in fleshing out the characters, because we're basically speeding up, to get to the fucking, mystery, for example.
Pretty much, and you know what? Like, depending on, like, how this case is going to treat all three of us, we're going to see. Is that theory actually proven right and such? But pretty much we'll have to find out. So, yeah, so whenever we get around to doing Turnabout Big Top and such, that's when these parts of Reunion and Turnabout will be uploaded onto YouTube. And if I had to take a guess, taking a look at the runtime, because we're almost ready to enter the 2 hour and 30 minute mark. It's basically going to be a 16-part series and such. So pretty much, if that's going to be the case, then the parts for Reunion and Turnabout will be uploaded every Sunday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And I'll make sure to remind you guys when we get to the first session of Turnabout Big Top. And much like Big Top and such, this case only has about like 6 parts in total. It has 2 investigation days and 2 trials, and pretty much much like with Reunion and Turnabout, they're split into 2 parts. So pretty much, honestly, like I have no doubt that we can actually finish up this case in 4 sessions as well too. Now pretty much I have no doubt that it's probably going to be a little bit longer and everything, but we should still definitely finish it up in 2 sessions, no question about it. So anyway, guys, this has been Sakura Diesel saying thank you all so much for watching. If you guys have enjoyed this session of Reunion and Turnabout, don't forget to hit the like button. If you guys are excited to see us tackle Turnabout Big Top, hit that subscribe button as well. And speaking of games, don't forget, if you guys got any games you want me to try out, list me in the comments on the YouTube or on my Facebook page. This Saturday, I will actually be, by the time I stream this, I should say, this Saturday, I will be finishing up Spy Fox and Cheese Chase. And pretty much after that, I'll let you guys know what the next game is going to be for the LP series. And pretty much, yeah. And yeah, don't forget, if you guys like movie and TV show reviews, check out my main channel where I mostly do that. Or check out mine and Bonnie's co-op channel, Review Bros, where we review movie, TV shows, music, and books together. And speaking of which, don't forget to check out Barney's channel. He actually started uploading something on his channel for once.
Can you tell them what it is?
Oh, gee, I don't know, Bonnie. Why don't you tell our lovely guests?
Okay, then I started doing. Alright, so no, screw the voice. I started doing my very own Barney instrumentals.
He did, actually, and pretty much check them out. Like, even for those that are like not much big a fan, even for those that are not much like big fan of Barney or anything, like definitely check them out. Like, at least in terms of instruments and everything, they're very good like music pieces, I will say.
And it took me a while to get into the business of doing instrumentals because I waited for a while because I felt the technology to remove the vocals wasn't there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I kid you not, I did a test of "I Love You" from Birthday Bash,
Mm-hmm.
and holy fuck, it was like if it didn't have vocals. That's how good it was.
Yeah,
It
that's
impressed
true.
me so much, and it impressed me so much that I was like, you know what, let's do it. Let's throw my hat in the ring.
I mean, like, it pretty much has been working out for him so far, believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm still working on them. It's gonna take a while because I'm still experimenting with what to do and what not to do. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. Like, I pretty much we've all been there, man. We've all been there. And I pretty much also don't forget to check out ESM channels as well too. I'll put the link down in the description. But anyway, guys, this has been Sakura Diesel with my 2 good friends.
Bonnie also known as OT-Bot7.
And pretty much ESM, who is now sleeping right now. But pretty much, yes. Thank you all so much for watching, and pretty much also thank you for being so patient with us on like, pretty much getting to the end of a Reunion and Turnabout. So we don't know when, but pretty much stick around, and sooner or later we will do Turnabout Big Top, where pretty much like with Reunion and Turnabout, the only thing we're most likely going to be doing is just the investigation itself. So until then, take care, everybody, and bye bye.
Bye, folks.